Yeah.
Well, it's 10:32, so we'll go ahead and start the meeting.
He was supposed to go up.
Didn't John do the invocation last week?
No, John led the pledge.
Oh,
And so, yeah.
okay, so they're switching. All right, well, if everyone's ready, John will lead us in the invocation, and then if Michael signs on, he'll do the pledge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Would you please bow with me? Father God, we come to you today with a humble heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the privilege that we have to come to you in prayer. Thank you for the blessings that you have poured down upon this county and its people. And we know, Father, that you are present always, and we invite you today. Please come into our heart, come into our minds. Please come into both, fill both with your light, so that we may work to fulfill your plan here for us in this place now. We ask also today for a special blessing to all of the people of the county. And we know that nothing that we will do today is more important than our prayer to you, Father, than our praise to you. Please allow us to improve your kingdom, to enhance your design with each and every single action that we take. We ask all this in Christ's precious name. Amen.
Is Michael on?
He is.
Yep, I'm on now, finally. Everybody, please stand and recite after me if you like to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Michael. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bell.
Present via Zoom, City of St. Joseph.
Curran.
Present via Zoom, Winter Haven, Florida.
Freeland.
Present via Zoom, Baroda Township.
Harrison.
Present via Zoom from Lincoln Township.
Hinkleman.
Present, Zoom, Waterville.
Majeric.
Present via Zoom, Niles, Michigan.
Meeks.
Present via Zoom, Ben Charter Township.
Scott.
Present via Zoom, New Buffalo Township.
Ballrat.
Here in the room.
Werfel.
Present via Zoom, Royalton Township.
Yarborough.
Present via Zoom, Sunny City, Hudson Harbor.
Elliott.
Present here in the room.
Mr. Chair, you have 12 present.
Thank you. Minutes from last week have been circulated. If there are no changes, motion to approve is in order.
Make a motion.
Moved by Volrath. Is there support?
Support by Commissioner Meeks.
Supported by Meeks. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Curran.
Yes.
Freeland.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Majeric.
Yes.
Meeks.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Ballrat.
Yes.
Werfel.
Yes.
Yarborough.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 12 yeas.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, have we communications?
Yes, we received a communication from Otsego County Board of Commissioners, a pandemic resolution received on February 25th. Sarah Duras, Watervliet, an email regarding Jason Latham received February 25th. Margaret Van Dyke Niles, an email regarding the letter to the governor received on February 26th. Joanne Stone, Stevensville, an email regarding Darien Bus received February 26th. Crawford County Board of Commissioners, a resolution supporting local business received on February 26th. Robert Burgess, Stevensville, an email regarding COVID relief received February 26th. An email St. Joseph Charter Township Board, an email supporting Jason Latham received March 2nd. All of these communications have been emailed to the board.
Thank you. We're now at presentations, which I take it to mean committee reports, unless there's another presentation.
We have none?
For Carrie, right? Gary. I've neglected to put Carrie Smetanka-Haney on the
Oh,
agenda. I'm
that's
sorry.
right.
She's not here to talk about it.
Who is it?
For the changes on Monday. Carrie, you've got the floor.
Good morning, everyone. Brian had asked me to just come in and give you an update with regards to the status of the courts. Effective Monday, March 8th, we are in phase 3 of the return to full capacity reopening plan. We are going to be, again, allowing walk-in filings at that time. We will not be allowing just general walk-in questions or comments or any of those natures at our desks. We will be only allowing walk-in filings. Those people are asked to come file and leave. We have added a few additional hearing types that we'll be having in person up front. If those individuals still choose to participate by Zoom, they are happy to do so. We are going to be able to start jury trials again the week of March 15th. We will continue to stay in the same plan as we had last summer and the fall, with regards to larger selections being held in the Niles Courthouse, with the north portion of the building being utilized for jury assembly room. And then misdemeanors will be held, and civil and family cases will be held at either location for selections. We will also be allowing folks to come in and handle some payments that have been difficult to manage while we've been closed to the general public. And we will also be allowing in-person appointments for the Self-Help Legal Resource Center. They've been doing a lot of work still with folks by phone and email, but just much more effective and efficient to have those in person. We will also be working with our partners to allow some by appointment only meetings in the building. That includes both the St. Joseph and the Niles Courthouse. They'll both be on the same schedule and the same allowable in-person hearings at this point in time. The Juvenile Center will also be allowing in a few more individuals that pertain to therapeutic appointments, case management appointments for the youth, that type of thing. We will still be maintaining video visitation with parents at this point in time at the Juvenile Center. Until further directions given or the governor's or the DHHS orders, are reviewed additionally. So we'll be back in not 100% full capacity. Just as a reminder, the state's current guidelines are return to full capacity as phase 4, and that is not until the national pandemic is declared over in the country. So everyone's guess on that is as good as mine, unless that's changed again at the Supreme Court's level. But right now, that's where we're at. So my assumption is that barring any change in the county's numbers, we will be in phase 3 for a significant period of time until the state has decided that phase 4 is a possibility. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Carrie? Carrie, Carrie, go ahead.
I have a question with regards to the determination of moving to phase 3 from phase 2. Can you give me an understanding of how that was sort of determined to be able to move to that phase?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very well spelled out by the Supreme Court what components we have to meet in order to move into a new phase. There has to be a minimum of 14 days between each phase. The county's numbers, the overall positives in the county, have to be on a downward trend for 14 days or more in order to phase up. And then additionally, the newest requirement for phase 3 is that we be on a 7-day average of 5% positivity or lower. So those numbers were satisfied at the end of February. Actually, quite honestly, towards the middle to end of February, those were satisfied. We waited about another extra week or so to choose to move, to give our staff some time to to transition appropriately. So those are the requirements that we have now. Again, if we do have to phase back to phase 2, the state does have that outlined as well. There has to be a spike in the percent positivity levels and an increase in the overall COVID positives in the county. And as an update, I guess, because jury trials was a question previously about the percent positivity in the county, or the number of positives per million to be accurate. We are now allowed in phase 3 to just do a jury trial. So as long as we are in phase 3, we don't have to meet a specific number criteria for the positives per million in the county. But we do also need to monitor just the overall statistics and where things are at, and continue to be working in conjunction with the health department, which we have been.
Other questions? I have one.
Sure.
The filing of new actions, like if you open an estate or file a divorce or a civil suit, those have been done online with the hard copies sent in. What's that procedure going to look like starting on Monday?
We are hoping to eliminate as much email filing as possible. Right now, it's very burdensome on our staff because we're not on an e-filing system at this point in time. It's very burdensome to make all those copies and make sure that we're not missing pages of things that are being submitted. So we are asking that folks do as much in person or by mail or the Dropbox as feasibly possible. And just so everyone is of the understanding of what an e-filing system is, the state is rolling out the MyFile program throughout the state. We are expected to be on that system, but the newest updates to that rollout is that they will only be working with courts who are on the actual state-run system, the JIS system through SCAO. So we are not on the priority of those individuals being rolled out onto MyFile at this time.
All right, thank you. Anyone have anything else? All right, Carrie, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Enjoy the sunshine.
You too. Committee reports. Bob, you want to tee off with PHS?
Sure. Thank you. We met this morning with 14 citizens watching our committee meeting. We first heard a presentation on equitable access for vaccines from Nikki Britton, our chief of the health department. So it was very informative. We had a number of questions for her. So the second item that we dealt with was an advanced step hire, also for the health department. This is a former employee whose family moved from the area, and now they've relocated back, and she's looking to come back onto our payroll. So we approved appointing her at labor grade 7. Third thing we covered was the resolution that's on the consent calendar. This is an agreement between the county and Lake Michigan College so that the health department can run a high volume vaccination centers out at the Grand Upton Hall in the Mendel Center. And so that's for your action later on today. And then the last item we discussed was related to Dr. Johansson's retirement, and then the process for filling that position. And that pretty much, we approved our minutes, but that pretty much concluded our meeting this morning.
All right. Any questions for PHS? Jim?
Yeah, thank you, Mac. Hey, Bob, I've just got a curiosity question. What is the process for replacing Dr. Johansson? Do we do it, or does the Board of Health do it? How does that work?
We're forming a committee with Brian, Nikki, myself, and we'll be talking about that exact process. So it's a contract. In the past, it's been a contract with Lakeland, Spectrum Lakeland. So the Dr. Johansson was not actually our employee. He was an employee of Lakeland that we contracted for services. So we'll kind of outline all of that, and then what the options might be if indeed there's not an interested and viable party from Lakeland that would like to be the medical officer for the county.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Good question. Good question. Wow.
Any
Yeah,
other questions?
everybody's raising their hand. Holy smokes.
Who has a question?
Mamie Yarbrough.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I don't quite understand, but I'm wondering if it's more than one person, because is he our coroner also, or is that through Western Michigan University? You know, kind of.
At one time, he was the medical examiner for Berrien County, but when we brought in Western Michigan to do that, then he no longer had that role. So this would just be the medical officer, and that's all.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think Ezra had a question too.
Ezra?
Yes, Bob, this rehire for the health department, same job she held before, same pay grade that she held before, or different job and different pay grade?
It's a sanitarian position, so it's just she worked while she was gone, so there's additional experience that she incurred while she was not working for us. So that established the premise for hiring her up in the scale. Same labor grade, just up in the scale.
Thank you. And as a point of order, finance had more people.
We had 14 people watching Ezra.
Something humorous?
About the number of people that are watching
Oh,
finance
okay.
versus pages.
Got it. That's the Nielsen ratings for committee meetings.
Yeah.
Any other questions for PHS? All right, then we'll move to finance. Madam Yarbrough.
Thank you very much. We met this morning and we had 16 viewers of our meeting. And we started out with Chris Swihart, who is the Director of Information Systems. And we're still talking about the mainframe. And there is necessary each year that we have a license renewed. And it's for license and work and pieces and parts. You know, our system is extremely old. And what we're really doing from this company is just the license, but that does not lower any prices. Chris asked and talked to them about all kinds of things. And the previous year, we paid $63,000 for this one-year license. There was a 35% increase to this year where they want to charge us $82,000. And there are very few people that do this. And Chris, in his talking, asked them if they knew of someone else or were there other companies. And they have someone that's a partner with them that they put Chris in touch with, or they got in touch with Chris. And so their offer was that they could do it for $73,656.83. And we must get this done right away because our contract or our license expires on March 13th, 2021. And there are very few people that are still working on a 35-year-old system. So we talked about it, and Commissioner Scott came up with this thought and asked Chris Swihart to ask them if we could have a multi-year contract for this license so that we wouldn't be in the same position next year. And so he's going to ask that because it will be a couple of years still before we're completely off the main frame. And Chris looked, and we have not asked him for any parts or any help for 10 years. So it is the licensing that we're paying for. And so we've given permission for him to do this however is necessary. And then from the finance department was in, and bids were open, and I'd like to ask Commissioner Scott if he would explain those to us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the board, you'll have to bear with the finance department and me a little bit on this report. Bid 2021-007 was due on February 24th of 2021. It was for firearms for the sheriff's department. Bid was sent to 3 companies, Sig Sauer, Vance Outdoors, and Acme Sports. When we opened the bids, there was only 2 bids that were there. It was Sig Sauer and Vance Outdoors. Acme had sent their bid on the 17th of February, and it was supposed to arrive at the county building via FedEx on the 19th. Due to that weather-related issues and problems, it didn't actually arrive until yesterday or the day before. And we had agreed, since that was not Acme Sports's problem in the bid, it was FedEx and it was weather related coming out of the Memphis, Tennessee hub, that we would allow them to wait and hold off on this and open their bid when it was received. We received it and it was opened up today. And the results of that were, they were not the lowest bidder. So we recommended this back to the sheriff's department to go with the lowest bidder as long as they met the specifications. And that happened to be Vance Outdoors, who was opened up on the 24th. So this was a oddity that doesn't happen very often, but we felt as a committee that it was best to give Acme Sports the benefit of the doubt and allow their bid to come in late, even though they had nothing to do with it because it was a FedEx problem and a weather-related problem. Okay, after that, we opened up bids 2021-008 for the Silver Beach Master Plan for the parks. We sent it out to 7 bidders and 7 responded. Allegretti, Abbenmarsh, Edgewater, DLZ, and Whiteman were the local bidders. We also had bids coming in from Lansing, Michigan and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Bids ranged anywhere from $9,000 to $38,800. So we sent that back to the Parks Department for them to check the bid specifications and to go with the lowest bid per policy. And that is my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And then Doug James, our Director of Finance, and Jake Lideker was still with him. What we've been working on is our policy for purchasing. And we have a piece that we believe as the Finance Committee is ready for our use. And what it was, we are working on sole source, when that is perhaps the only company that does a certain job, or single bid. And what we had was a good example today to be able to use the form from animal control. There was something that they wanted to purchase and they had one company that they wanted to go with. And the reason for going with this company is that the items that they wanted to purchase are made in the United States and that it is of a good quality. It is what they want to use. And the bid was, I'm trying to find it. Oh, $2,059.47. We have a limit on this sole source or single bid is that anything under $19,999 can fit within that, and otherwise we'd have to discuss it greatly. And so we're satisfied that this step in our process of working on the purchasing policy will work. And so we, by consensus, accepted that because we know that when the whole policy is done, that we'll have to bring it to another committee and then it will be presented to the full board. But we'd like to be able to use the pieces that we come up with. I'm just trying to see if that's it. And then next week, we're going to have our committee meeting will meet at 8:30 because we have a consulting fund or a company will make a presentation to us. And it's a lengthy discussion and it's about our, Brian, help me, it's about our pension fund.
Madam Chair, that is correct.
Yes,
It's for our pension. It's GRS, one of our vendors that we use.
Okay, thank you very much. And so we want to have enough time to be able to, for them to be able to explain to us. And that's why we'll meet at 8:30 next Thursday, the Finance Committee. That is my report. Do you all have any other things?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just a quick follow-up. Chris Whitehart did reach out to the mainframe vendor about a multi-year agreement. The vendor responded very quickly stating that no price break would occur by engaging them for a multi-year agreement. As a result, we're moving forward with the one-year agreement that has been added to today's requisition list.
Okay. Any other things we need to add, members? That is our report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. On now to public comments regarding resolutions on the consent calendar, as well as the added resolution that was mentioned during the PHS report ending in 3177, and that's the one that involves the agreement with LMC to provide space for a bigger group to get the COVID vaccine. So if there are any comments about those matters, we'll take those now.
There are no comments regarding the resolutions today. There are general comments in here, but we will hold those off until the end.
All right. With that in mind, then, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar, included the added resolution ending in 3177?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Volrath. Is there support?
This is Commissioner Harrison. I'll second the motion.
All right, thank you. So moved by Volrath, supported by Harrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Freeling.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Majerick.
Yes.
Meeks.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Walrath.
Yes.
Werfel.
Yes.
Yarborough. Bell.
Yes.
Curran.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 12 yeas.
Thank you. Does anyone have any meetings that they attended that they wish to report on?
Mac, I just want to say, I think we got an email yesterday or the day before from Mac. The legislative conference this year that we have every spring will be held this year on April 28th and 29th. That's a Wednesday and Thursday, and it's going to be held virtually. It'll start each day at 9 a.m. and then they promise to conclude by 3 o'clock each day. But once again, it's going to be virtual because of COVID, and we won't be driving to Lansing again this year.
Okay. Save on gas.
That's right.
Anyone have anything else, any meetings that they went to in the last week? Jim?
Yeah, I just have a question for Dave on that conference. Even though it's virtual, do we still go through a net and the normal process to attend that rather than just go direct? Okay, thanks.
Yep. Mr. Chair, just a quick follow-up to that. One of the hot topics that I anticipate is going to be at that conference ties back to, this week, the U.S. House took action on $1.9 trillion of American Rescue Plan Act stimulus proposals. That's still got to go to the other side for Senate action and ultimately to be signed into law. It appears that that's going to be coming quickly. For the commissioners, Staff will be working up a PowerPoint presentation. We can present that to finance just to get more information out to you all on what we think is coming.
Okay.
Honestly, the numbers are staggering. So if the act moves forward the way that it's currently written, it could be as much as $30 million heading towards the county.
Wow.
So tons of moving parts. As we get more information, we'll present that to the board. I'm going to plan on attending the conference just to try and get as much information as possible, but we'll push that out to all 12 of you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Good plan.
If there are no other commissioner reports, we'll go to the administrator report.
Mr. Chairman, Amy Yarbrough.
Yes, ma'am.
Brian, I'd like to know, what about part of the money that was already allotted to the Trump administration, but we've never spent it? Do I understand it's with the state, but the state hasn't? Don't we have?
So, ma'am, yes, the State House is still taking action to finalize some of the stimulus dollars that came out of the 2020 bills. I am watching the Michigan Municipal League page as well as Michigan Association of Counties page just to see what that could potentially mean to us. I've notified our finance department and community development just to help me keep a close eye on what could be coming this way. As soon as we have a handle on what we think is eligible, we'll be actively pursuing it.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other commissioner reports? Okay, administrator report.
No comment, sir.
General public comments now.
Okay. The first is from Leroy Jenkins, Jenkins, from Coloma Township. He thanks us for this forum for us citizens who are hesitant to go outside. He has more. Hang on. I would like to bring up a great concern of mine and many others in my community. My house has to use this fancy satellite for internet, and it has led to many nights of frustration. This is still Mr. Jenkins. And poor gameplay only due to lag. This is a serious problem for me as I am a serious gamer. It's my career. I heard it might be possible to launch another satellite that is exclusively used for the Coloma area. I would like to pass a resolution to take Coloma to a new age of internet speeds. Let's do this. We have a group on standby that is willing to contribute our stimulus checks to help this fund. A member of said group, Bill, did some number crunching and said our funds could fund 32.33% repeating of high-tech satellite fund. We have to come together as a county. It's for the kids. Thank you for this forum. I'm unwilling to go outside of my home. Okay, so this is, I gotta find his last name. It's Gordon is his first name with an O, Gordon, William. and he's from St. Joseph Township. Commissioners, I have an excerpt from Forbes by Evan Gerstmann for you to read aloud. The COVID-19 pandemic doesn't just threaten people's health, it is also threatening people's civil liberties across the globe. Even before this crisis, democracy was on the decline worldwide. According to Freedom House, since 2006, nearly twice as many countries become less democratic than have seen their democracies improve. The COVID-19 pandemic is threatening to accelerate this troubling trend. While restrictions on freedom of assembly are probably inevitable under the circumstances, many countries have gone well beyond this in terms of restricting democratic liberties. These restrictions can be roughly grouped into 4 categories: enhanced surveillance powers, suspension of rights, control over information, and delayed elections. Here are some examples of each of them. They are mostly drawn from the very informative database, the COVID-19 Civic Freedom Tracker, maintained by the International Center for Not-for-Profit Law. Enhanced surveillance. There is a legitimate need for the government to make sure that contagious people are following quarantine rules. However, this need can easily be used on their smartphones. The software shares location data with the police. In Israel, the police are now allowed to use cell phone data to track the locations of these suspected of being infected. No compliance with social distancing orders. The mayor of Elizabeth, New Jersey has announced some may notice drones monitoring your neighborhoods. These drones are going to alert people to move away from each other if they are congregating. Summons have been and will continue to be issued to those found in violation. Fines up to $1,000. You have been advised this is a drop in the bucket compared to China, though. My fellow Forbes contributor, Zach Doffman, has written about China's vast fleet of drones enforcing quarantines. It is certainly important to contain the spread of COVID-19, but once governments gain new powers, they don't always give them back. The combined technology of tracking apps, facial recognition software, and drones can give a government virtually unlimited power to track its citizens. The aggressive deployment of these technologies must be held in check by sunset provisions, clear rules against their abuse, a system of independent oversight and transparency, suspension of rights. Numerous countries have suspended fundamental democratic rights such as freedom of assembly, freedom of movement, and protection against warrantless searches and warrantless arrest. While there are obvious reasons for limiting gatherings during this crisis, that does not justify the wholesale suspension. As I discussed in a recent post in the United States, the various stay-at-home orders issued so far are probably constitutional because they are narrowly tailored to further the compelling government interest in controlling the spread of the virus. This is a far cry from declaring, oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. This is a far cry from declaring that the right to association has been suspended altogether. And warrantless searches and arrests are an arrow through the heart of the democratic society. The requirement that warrants be issued by an independent judiciary is a core protection against tyranny. Control of information. Numerous countries have made it illegal for the media or individuals to publicize information about the coronavirus without government pre-clearance. For example, the Indian state of Maharashtra, with a population of 114 million people, has put such a restriction in place. In Thailand, journalists can face up to 5 years in prison for failing to correct the government, to correct what the government deems to be incorrect information about the coronavirus. Similarly, in Hungary, journalists and others face up to 5 years imprisonment for distorting the information about the disease. This continues.
Continue.
In Egypt, government blocks or limits access to news websites that it deems to be spreading false information about the pandemic, while under certain limited circumstances, governments may need to prevent the spread of false information. This sort of unchecked power of the government to punish journalists and others for spreading that information. Then the government disagrees that what is the recipe for totalitarianism? Delayed elections. There are numerous examples of delayed elections because of the dangers of public gatherings. Some level of delay might be necessary, but any such delays cannot be at the sole discretion of the incumbent government. Also, they must be accompanied by a strong effort to arrange for voting by mail or another way to vote safely as soon as possible.
Excuse me, Jeanette.
Yes.
Is this a comment from one person?
Yes.
We are way past our 2-minute threshold for public comments per individual. At that rate, we'll never be able to hear from anyone else. We'll receive the gentleman's remarks and have them part of the meeting record, but we have to follow that 2-minute limit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Continue with somebody else.
Yes, and thank you to the gentleman for taking the time to submit his comments.
Alex Riley of Coloma Township. Good morning. When will we have any update regarding Jason Latham's employment? Many citizens have contacted the commissioner of the township they live in to ask questions and have received no answers. Brian, can you come here for a second? Okay. Mr. Riley continued that he is in full support of resolving the issues with Mr. Latham and bring him back to work. We need to go back up to and then continue. Hang on a second.
Oh. Do you want to summarize?
I can.
I'm not sure how best to summarize that statement.
Matt, can I mute the room for a second, please?
Pardon me?
Can I mute the room for a second?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, maybe
Babu Frick of St. Joseph Township.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. I think we've got everything resolved now.
Wants to know after single parents' rights, homosexual rights, and transgender rights have been fought to be treated fairly in this country, when will the rights for you immoral people fight to push these rights of the sexually immoral perverts, and in turn now we can't have a Mr. Potato Head anymore? How long will you stay wicked in seeking to give rights to pervs? Tony Benhart, Sodas Township. I am in full support of the decision dealing with Jason. There also needs to be more house cleaning as well. Let's see here. Adolf Peltzer in Hager Township. Why do I have to wear a mask while I am working out at the gym? I see that our high school athletes wear a mask, and I see college athletes as well as pros not wearing a mask. What is going on? I have to ask this individual to give me their municipality in order for their comments to be included. Adolf added, where is my 2 minutes of democracy, where at the end of the meeting I was able to face you and express my opinion on any topic with a question mark. I'm still waiting for this individual to give me their municipality. I just asked them again.
Are there any others while you're waiting?
I do not believe so. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I don't have a name, I have initials. So I guess I need a name, correct?
Yes, you do.
Bruce, I think it's Binger, B-I-N-G-E-R, with B&Z Company. It's the B&Z Benton Town. He's got Benton Harbor and Benton Township.
Okay.
And the comment is, gonna make sure I get it all in here. We too are concerned with what is happening with Jason Latham. Having been involved with the work for the Berrien County Road Commission, my opinion is that the road department has never run smoother. Colleagues, peers, and engineers, we have spoken with all, feel Jason has been a great asset to this community. The best thing that has happened to the road department.
Is that still the last person?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this individual. I'm trying to find, thank you, I need his last name, that's what I was thinking. In order for me to do that one. Thanks, Amy. So this is Jake Corns, C-O-R-N-S of Royalton Township. And the beautiful Royalton Township, sorry. And that is, there we go. I apologize if this is an ignorant question, but does this county have the freedom to move through the phases independently, or do we have to move as a whole state?
Is he just moving?
I believe that is all.
Okay, thank you to everyone who commented. We'll now go to other business. Anyone have anything? Thought I saw a hand. Was that Terry? Yes. Terry?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to once again make the board and residents of Berrien County aware of the ongoing broadband survey that is being done through March 26th. And I hope that Mr. Jenkins is listening with regards to that and encourage those individuals who are interested in improved broadband to take that survey. I also know that there is some interesting news with regards to the Oklahoma area for the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund that may also be part of the answer as we collect data and figure out what those next might be for broadband in Coloma and Berrien County in general. That's my comment with regards to that, Mr. Chair. My other question that I had is I was wondering if the administrator might be able to give us an update on the most recent DHHS orders that came out earlier this week and how that impacts our region. I think the room is still muted.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Do you want to do that now, Terry, or do you want to go around the horn and see if anyone else has any similar questions, and then Brian can respond?
Certainly, Mr. Chair, I would welcome any other comments from other commissioners in this area.
Okay. Does anyone have anything on this or another topic? Looking for hand movement. See anything? Okay, well, Brian, did you want to share some information?
Yeah, so as of March 3rd, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services updated their restrictions on gatherings and face mask orders. Here are the highlights. Restaurants and bars are allowed to be at 50% capacity up to 100 people. Tables must be 6 feet apart and no more than 6 people per table. There is now an 11 p.m. curfew. Outdoor and non-residential gatherings where people interact across households are permitted up to 300, allowing larger outdoor events to resume. Indoor entertainment venues are allowed to be at 50% capacity up to 300 people. Exercise facilities are allowed to be at 30% capacity with restrictions on distancing and mask requirements. Retail is allowed to be at 50% capacity. Casinos are allowed to be at 30% capacity. Indoor stadiums and arenas are allowed to have 375 if seating capacity is under 10,000, 750 if seating is over 10,000. Outdoor entertainment and recreational facilities may host up to 1,000 patrons. Those are the highlights.
And are all of those reviewable on the 19th of April?
They are. These all go into effect on Friday, March 5th, 2021 at 12:01 a.m. and remain in effect through Monday, April 19th, 2021 at 11:59 p.m.
Okay. Does that stimulate any questions or comments? Gary, do you have something? Hold on, just 1 second. Terry, did you have something more?
I will yield to Commissioner Scott for his comments.
Mr. Chair, my question is, what about banquet facilities, wedding venues? Are they going to be listed as restaurants or indoor gatherings, outdoor gatherings? How is that going to be? I've got some here in my district that are very concerned, and I don't have an answer for them.
That's a good question. And it's hard to glean answers from this latest bulletin from MDHHS via the governor's office. Spring is coming. We see that every day. Days are getting longer, the snow is melting away. People probably, notwithstanding COVID, have gotten engaged and they'd like to get married in the spring, summer. You know, June weddings are always a wonderful thing. But if you're going to do that, you're typically looking at about a 3-month lead time to get the place lined up, to get your invitations out. And if you're the owner of that venue, that event facility, how are you going to be able to accept a booking for a wedding in June or July if come the 20th of April, the rug can get yanked out from under you once again? So it's a good question, and I wish we had a good answer.
Call the governor.
Thank you very much.
Brian has something to add.
So folks, to the board, I'm sending you links to MDHHS fact sheets as it relates to indoor facilities. And I'm assuming by reading this, this would include event spaces for weddings. They are now permitted to have 50% of the limits established by the fire marshal and must not exceed a total of 300 people. And again, I'm sending a link to the fact sheets out to the board.
Thank you. That may provide some light on the subject. Ongoing concern is the potential for having this yanked back in 6 weeks. Jim?
Yeah, thank you, Mac. I'm just curious, Brian, in that announcement, was there any rationale given or statistics, data, anything that justified her decision in doing that?
Yeah.
Commissioner, I do not have access to rationale at this moment. I will happily research to see if I can find that for you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Terry?
Mr. Chair, thank you. I was encouraged to see that there was some motion that had been made through this most recent order. I was discouraged to see the extension from what was supposed to be March 29th with the current orders to be extended out to April 19th. What I would ask this board perhaps to consider and to have discussion on is a process of writing another communication, be it a letter or resolution, that again urges the state and our governor to give us clear metrics. We just heard from the courts giving us a report that basically told them how they were designing their phases from what were the metrics that they used to move from phase 2 to phase 3. And I would hope that we could have that same sort of metric put before us, whatever those measurements might be, so that we can create sustainability, consistency, certainty for our businesses, the residents of Berrien County, and that we would once again urge them to consider regionalization. As we heard this morning, our numbers are at that 5% positivity. We see downward trajectory. Hospitalization and the hospital bed census, I believe as of yesterday, was 0 for ICU. These are all reasons that we should continue to urge the state to work with us to look at other ways to get us moving in that right direction to recovery and mitigation rather than crisis response. Those are my comments, sir.
Thank you. Anyone have anything they wish to add to that or any other subject? All right, well, we'll do some preliminaries in terms of preparing something else for board review in the week ahead. Don, did you have something? Don Meeks?
No.
Okay, sorry. If anyone has anything that comes up in the meantime, of course, please share that with the administrator. But I certainly concur with the comments, and I think it's best to keep this at the forefront and press for an explanation as to how these decisions are made, and to ask for some rationale for not employing a regional approach. And one size does not fit all. And what's going on here isn't necessarily what's going on in the southeast corner of the state or some other major population center, and common sense tells you that ought to be a factor. But we'll keep on keeping on. Does anyone have anything else before we move to announcements and reminders? Okay, finance, on my agenda it says it's next Thursday at 8:30 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. Mamie, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then our regular board meeting, of course, next Thursday at 10:30 in the morning. I don't know yet about other committee meetings, but those are certainly within the realm of possibility, and the administrator will keep tabs with admin and PHS. If there's nothing else for the good of the cause, we stand adjourned to Thursday next. Have a good day.